Hey, what is up everyone? Parshuraj Starter here. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you people are doing good. And today we're going to talk about how to remove noise from our photos in Lightroom or Adobe Camera RAW in just few minutes or even seconds. And first, let the intro roll. We'll come back, discuss about what noise is and how we can adjust our camera settings to get rid of the noise in the very first place. And still, if your situation doesn't allow you to keep your ISO real low to get rid of all this noise, I got you covered in the post-processing. So let's do it. So basically, noises are those grainy, pixelated, discolored pixels that just pops up in your photo because that exact pixel is beyond the optical capability of your camera sensor, and the smaller the camera sensor is, like a crop sensor body or a mobile, the more prone it will be to generating more noises in the given camera settings. And similarly, if the sensor size is on the bigger side, it will handle grains in a better way. So for now, let's keep this theories aside and just take a look at a photo and just let me show you what grains or noises mean. So let's start off by opening this photo that I kept for this tutorial especially. Okay, let's just zoom it in. Alright, so it's too much, let's just zoom out a bit. So well, this jittery part of this photo, there's all this ugly looking pixels all over my skin. These are what noises are. Those grainy, jittery things are what noises are. So to get noiseless photo in the first place, the first thing you need to do is get a well exposed image or even underexposed image by 0.3 or 0.7 stops. So first thing that controls a photo is shutter speed. The second one is aperture of your lens, and the third thing is ISO. So to get a well exposed image, we need a solid combination of three of this in a balanced manner. So here will be two tips that you should keep in mind while shooting in low light conditions. First is always shoot manual, and secondly always shoot raw. While shooting manual, you have all the flexibility to play around with your aperture or shutter speed so that you can keep your ISOs low, and as a result you will get cleaner image, crispier image. And on the other hand, while shooting raw, you are giving your post-processing part a chance to get rid of all the jitters and noises and some stuffs. So now let's come down to shooting raw. So the first thing you should do while shooting low light is just open your aperture wide open, like using a f1.8 lens or even a f1.4 or even f1.2. Just go as wide as your lens can go. And when it comes down to shutter speed, it's not in your hand. Sometimes you are shooting an event with a lot of movement in the frame. You can't keep your shutter speed real low, and it will end up creating blurrier images. And noisy and grainy images are way better than blurry images. So keep that in mind. So while shooting manually, the key is to keeping your aperture wide open, shutter speed to something optimal so that you don't have to crank your ISO too high. And here's a bonus tip: no matter what device you own, just go out and try and do some trial and error and see up to what ISO your camera can produce a presentable image, something that can be used on even social medias. And while shooting raw, you are having the capacity to tweaking the highlight, shadows and exposure in the post, and obviously you need to play around with that as well, so you know the optimal ISO up to which your post-processing software can just make your photo presentable. So with all the settings in place, you can keep ISO away as much as possible. Rest I will show you how to remove these things in post as well. So we will start off by dragging this photo straight into Photoshop and then editing it via Adobe Camera RAW. Just in case your workflow involves Lightroom, you can do the same thing in Adobe Lightroom as well, in almost all the versions. And if you are a mobile user and you don't have the professional plan,
subscription, you are probably running out of luck. So let's go to filter and then go to camera raw filter. The camera raw filter tab is basically almost same as the Lightroom develop module, and the reason behind choosing this photo is the whole photo is full of grains. It was taken 3 years back on a crop sensor camera. I kept the ISO to 200, it's pretty low, still it yielded so much of noise in the photo. The reason being, such a small sensor in a camera that was belonging to the 2010-2011 era, a sensor that old is sure to create such sort of noisy, jittery look in such low light conditions. It's pretty much obvious. Now, so to start off, let's go to the details tab, and there's a noise reduction slider right here. To start off, we will be pulling this up a bit to around +15, +20. I won't be going beyond this point, because if I do that, it will end up making my skin looking like plastic. So let's just take a before and after look of this, of my skin especially. So it's pretty much visible that a lot of noise here and also here are evened out and smoothed by just taking this noise slider a bit up, and still there's a lot of noise still remaining in this photo. Now let's take it to something advanced. Let's turn off the before and after view. Yeah. Now let's pick up the brush tool. So just make sure that you reset its all parameters to its base values. Now just go to the texture, pull it down to around 30-35. Just keep on experimenting with this. Pull the texture down, pull up the noise reduction to another 20-25, or you can go for a higher value if you are not going to touch the skin for now. So I'm going with the higher value of around 55-56, and let's just brush around the areas that I want my noise to disappear. Also some part of my hand, I can use it because there's not much of details available anyways, so I can just play around with this. Also this part, and also this part of my fingers, there's no details left, and also parts of my shirt as well. Now let's just zoom in. Now let's do some adjustment in the skin part. So I don't want my skin to look absolutely like plastic, so I will pull the texture a bit up so that the texture of the skin remains. Let's keep it around -10, -12, and noise reduction to somewhat around +15, +20. So you can just increase the size of the brush by pressing the third bracket closing button and decreasing it by bracket opening button. A brush size of around this. Let's just brush over my skin. I know no amount of noise reduction can get this photo to somewhat presentable to a client or something like that, but it can sometimes just save your life. And so also again, you can just pull the noise reduction up and pull the texture all the way down and retouch the rest parts of the photo. I am not going it in the details. You can just keep on experimenting with this. Now let's just show you prompt before and after of this. So just for this part, there was so much noise here in the before, and compared to that, very less, at least looks somewhat presentable to my eyes. And I am sure that with all those tips being said in the video, you won't end up getting so much of noise. This was shot in very early days of my photography career, so yeah, I made mistakes. I didn't use lights well, so yeah, you know it. So that's all for now. Just hit the thumbs up button, or just in case you are into photography and filmmaking stuff and you are watching my channel for the first time,
you might consider subscribing to this channel. With all this being said, stay safe, stay indoors. See you in the next video. Take care till then. Bye.